Have you ever heard of a Toterhome? Chances are you've seen one of these RVs, but you might not have known what it was called. These are typically RVs built on a semi, and the intent of these is for heavy hauling. Today we're going to be taking a look at Toterhomes, who needs them, and why. Welcome back. I'm Tom. My wife and I have been full-time RVing since 2015. We publish daily articles over on our website at mortonsonthemove.com, and today in this video we're going to be breaking down one of these articles right here on our YouTube channel for you. We're going to be taking a look at Toterhomes. This is a unique type of RV that is kind of fun to talk about. We're going to be taking a look at these behemoths, what they're used for, and why people have them. So what is a Toterhome anyway? A Toterhome is basically a gigantic RV built onto a semi. Now, some people will kind of call them Super Cs, or they kind of blend the line between a Super C, but a lot of times a Toterhome is specific to hauling heavy loads. A lot of times they will have the capability to have a kingpin to actually be able to tow an entire semi-trailer behind them. But they also have full motorhome living spaces in them as well. The term toter means they can tote behind them pretty much whatever they want. They are designed primarily for hauling heavy, but they're also the motorhome part. So they're the best of both worlds between a semi-truck and a motorhome. Now, Toterhomes are built on HDT chassis, or heavy-duty truck chassis, and so are Super Cs, but a lot of times a Super C is a dedicated motorhome, whereas a Toterhome is more a dedicated truck with the motorhome portion. It's really just kind of a matter of terminology, but you can kind of call it whatever you want. The Toterhome, though, usually you can kind of tell the difference. You're like, okay, that one's definitely designed for hauling, whereas the Super Cs are almost always designed to haul heavier as well. But it's just kind of a matter of terminology. So what actually makes a Toterhome different than a Super C or a Class A? Well, first of all, we're going to take a look at the engine power. Most of the time, Toterhomes have extremely large engines. Not to say that some of the biggest Class A motorhomes don't have big engines. We have a 14-liter Detroit diesel in this coach, and a lot of times you're going to see engines like that or even bigger in the Toterhome because they can be extremely heavy on the road, and 80,000 pound gross vehicle weight rating is not uncommon for a Toterhome. Some specialty rigs can even go higher than that. It really is the towing capacity that makes the Toterhome unique. Renegade is a well-known Toterhome manufacturer, and I believe their lowest towing capacity is 20,000 pounds. Some of these custom builds can tow upwards of 50,000 pounds. They are really intended to be able to tow those immensely heavy trailers, and they do that a lot of times by having heavier duty axles at the rear. Almost every big motorhome has a tag axle at the rear, which means it is a single tire that hangs out behind the primary dually axle. But a lot of times a Toterhome is going to have two live axles, two dualies. So 4 sets of tires at the rear, both of them 20,000 pound axles, and a lot of times a secondary differential that actually can be driven to give it even more traction for those heavy applications if they start to slip a little bit. This is the same way that a semi-truck rear end operates. Now, be it that a Toterhome is designed to tow a giant trailer, it is that storage and space for actually carrying stuff that really makes these units different. We have seen Toterhomes that are over 100 feet long on the road. Now, in a lot of places, this isn't even legal, so we're going to talk about the legalities and challenges a little bit later, but some of these rigs can be absolutely enormous. And not only do they have a lot of living space in the motorhome portion, a lot of times they are towing a massive trailer behind them, so you can have a whole second living space behind the motorhome itself. This could be used as a garage. A lot of times it's used for that, or sometimes they are split application, a garage and living space in the actually toter portion of the Toterhome. Toterhomes are also frequently very customized. They are almost always built to order and built for a specific task. So customization within Toterhomes is just part of the standard, if you will. They are designed to be built for their specific application, but it's not just Toterhomes that are custom. We wrote an article all about custom RVs of all different types over on our website. If you want to learn how to customize any RV, go to our website, type in custom RV, and read that article. While you're over on our website, I'd also love to encourage you to check out and sign up for our RV comics. Every single week, we put together a comic because we find some humor in this form of travel. We absolutely love it and recommend it to everybody, but it's sometimes funny to see these big rigs on the road, and it's fun to find some humor in it. And we've put together hundreds of comics, and we produce a new one every single week. You can get access to this over on our website. I'll put a link in the description below. You can sign up for it, and we'll send you a new comic every single Sunday and our book of our previous comics that we have produced along the way. So let's talk about some of the challenges with a Toterhome. First of all, do you need a special license to operate it? Well, that's going to depend heavily on your state and how the vehicle is actually registered. A lot of times, if you can get it registered as an RV, then sometimes your license will cover you. Like say here in Florida, my license specifically says I can operate any vehicle up to 26,000 pounds or any RV. It literally says that in a disclaimer, which is a little ridiculous almost. This RV weighs in around 50,000 pounds, and I am perfectly legal to operate it here in Florida because it's registered as an RV. However, if it was registered as a commercial vehicle, then I would need a CDL to operate that. The CDL type is going to depend on the weight class most of the time. It almost always goes by weight class. So definitely check your local regulations. There is a really good list over on Heavy Haulers RV Resource Guide. I'll put a link to that. Actually, it's in the article, but the rules change regularly, so I definitely want you to look into them if you are considering driving a heavy vehicle like this. I'd also recommend some training if you're uncomfortable or don't know heavy vehicles, because there are some differences primarily around the air brakes, the connections between the trailers and things like that you really should know before you put so much weight on the road. So can Toterhomes pull semi-trailers? A lot of them can, but it's really going to depend on the design and the build itself. It will need a lower deck and a kingpin to actually be able to tow that semi-trailer, but a lot of them can, and a lot of them are used for a purpose of moving a trailer that is a full-size 53-foot or larger trailer. If they're being used for, say, a circus or race car drivers, they're going to need the full-size semi-trailer, and the Toterhome is going to be designed for that. So how much do these behemoths actually cost? Toterhomes are going to vary in price, of course. We've seen them anywhere from, say, $250,000 to well over $1 million. It's, of course, going to depend on whether you're buying it used or new, but a lot of times being a custom option, the price can be extremely high on these. You're getting a lot of value, however, with the massive, massive truck. And a lot of times those that are building them are putting in very, very luxury amenities. With so much weight capacity, you can put in granite, nice tile floors, all the amenities that you would want and not so much worry about the weight capacity. So where do these things come from, though? I mean, who builds them and where can you get one? Well, used, you could typically get them even on RV Trader or just any RV sales website. When somebody's done with them, a lot of times they just put them up for sale. However, because they're specialty units, a lot of times they're sold kind of within the niche that they were built for. So if it was built for race car drivers, a lot of times they're sold within that niche, and it can be kind of hard for somebody like me to actually go out and buy one of these things. However, if you want to buy one new, you can definitely do that. You're probably going to have to build it custom, however. There's a handful of manufacturers out there. Show Hauler is a big name one. Cowboy Cadillac, Westside Trailers, Victory Custom Trailers. These are some of the most well-known Toterhome builders, but there's a lot more out there. You're just going to have to kind of do your research. Again, a lot of it has to do with the niche that they're sold within. Are you hauling livestock? Are you hauling circus equipment or race cars? There's manufacturers that kind of specifically target certain niches for the specialty builds. So we've talked a little bit about it throughout the article, but who actually should buy or who uses these things? A lot of times it's somebody who's using it for work or a very, very, very expensive and heavy hobby. A lot of times race car teams use these and they tow what's called a stacker trailer. Stacker trailers are designed to be able to stack multiple cars on top of each other with very specific ramps that can actually elevate one car and then put another underneath it. And usually in the front portion is a garage so they can actually work on the cars, have all of their equipment. It's basically an entire mobile workshop on wheels, towed behind the vehicle that they can live in as well. And it's critical for them to have that living space because they are on the road between races and they need to be comfortable or they need to haul long distances. Really anybody who falls into that category, circuses, rodeos, construction crews, specialty construction crews, sometimes even just long haulers that have a very specific product that they can't stop for, will have these so that they can just keep on rolling. They can pull into a rest stop, sleep a little bit, be very comfortable and keep on moving. Also have that living space when they are at, say, a venue. Maybe it's a concert and they're waiting for their artist to perform. They can be there with all of the equipment and not have to detach, just be ready to roll. We have, however, seen some creative individuals use these, purchase them from a specialty, just full-time families even. We've seen some people with kids. The kids have the rear house, or maybe you've got the rear trailer and the kids get the main living space. It all just depends. It's a lot of fun. They are very expensive though, and they also can burn a lot of fuel. So let's get into some of the additional drawbacks of a Toterhome. Really, it is the size, weight, and cost that are the drawbacks. The size, a lot of times these are at the upper limit of semi-truck size. Sometimes they are longer than standard semi-trucks. So even using this as a standard semi, backing it into a standard truck dock because the wheelbase is so much longer, typically not going to be very easy or possible at all. So it needs open roads and big spaces. Along those same lines is the weight. Semi-trucks have weight concerns and weight restrictions, but the Toterhomes are going to be the same or sometimes even worse. Your axle weights or your overall weight is going to limit where you can drive, what roads you can drive on, and what bridges you can cross. So knowing what the limitations are and where you can go is going to be really a bit of a challenge with a Toterhome. The last drawback to a Toterhome, of course, is the licensing and any special requirements around it. If you can get it registered as an RV, that could be great and lower your costs. But if you have to register it as a commercial vehicle, this could really drive up the costs, both for insurance, registration, and then also compliance. You're going to have to stop at weigh stations. And even if it is registered as an RV, you might end up with some issues at weigh stations, and particularly border crossings, where the authorities are going to look at it and kind of go, you're really crossing the line here between recreational vehicle and commercial. So there you go. That's Toterhomes in a nutshell. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Be sure to check out the article over at Morton's on the Move for even more information. I'd also like to encourage you to sign up for our newsletter over there, because this is just the tip of the iceberg. We have thousands of articles about travel, RVing information, and all sorts of fun things. And we share one of those articles we produce every single day, and As a subscriber, you're also Morton's on the Move Insider. You'll get access to our comics, our calculators, and a whole bunch of other information. As always, we really appreciate you watching. Thanks so much. Please hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, stay safe, and we will see you down the road.